I go to a very good doctor. She's a lovely lady. But what came up in blood work was like, you look pre-diabetic. And I'm thinking, what's going on? Like, what am I like? I wasn't at a weight that you would think that, like, and now I'm realizing it's likely because we were on this train of my body's like, you don't need to process insulin the way you used to. Now we're going to say you're pre-diabetic. So most women are and then what we're told is like, oh, well, it's because of your age. And we're just going to put you on what do they put you on, a statin? Like, what do they like make you go on a medication?
I mean, they'll put you on a weight loss drug this day and age. They can definitely put you on a statin. They put you on hormone replacement. They'll put you on anything they can put you on to try to get you to lose weight without teaching you why you're gaining weight, which is so important because this is the thing that drives me crazy, is that we then outsource our power. We're like, okay, well, I must be weak. The doctor's strong, the medication's strong. And if we understand what's going on through this process, it's not that hard to avoid the menopausal belly weight. And it's not that hard to lose it. I promise you, we have literally seen hundreds of thousands of women go through this process. And once they know and they have a strategy, it works. But unfortunately, you started this off and said something about how little we know. And it's true. Even your doctor, your trusted doctor, was most likely not trained in menopausal belly weight.
How much overlap is it to men who are also gaining belly weight at a certain age? What's the similarity in terms of their metabolic breakdown and how they're processing glucose?
Well, this brings up the question of what's the difference between testosterone in a man and let's just say sex hormones in a man and sex hormones in a woman. So in a man, testosterone's made in the testes and goes up into the brain and converts to estrogen in the brain. Based off of all of the research that we have seen and we stay in the lane of women mostly, but from the research we've seen, men typically they're not meant to lose testosterone as they age. And testosterone isn't necessarily your weight loss hormone. It'll affect your muscles and things like that. So you don't have this huge hormonal shift like we do. Yet, when you talk about the man boobs and the man belly, the dad belly, what do we call that? The dad body?
Dad bod.
A lot of that is endocrine disruptors. These are estrogen mimickers in the body, and the male body doesn't know what to do with it. Neither does the female body, but especially the male body doesn't know what to do with synthetic estrogen. So when the body doesn't know what to do with something, it stores it as fat. So when a man has a big belly, or the man boobs that show up, that is an estrogen mimicker that's coming from ultra processed foods, coming from men. Men have plenty of beauty products that they're lathering on themselves, lotions and shampoos. It can come from heavy metals in the soils. I mean, we live in the most toxic time in human history. So when I see a man like that, I think toxicity. You clean up his diet and he'll drop that weight immediately.
Let's talk about fasting. How do you get women? Talk to us about the process of getting women.
How do you get women skinnier? How do you make them not look like they do? Tell the women how to fast so they don't have the belly.
Amazing. Okay, so here's how this goes.
I'm not suggesting they'd be skinnier. I'm just suggesting that they use insulin better so that they can all be healthier.
Exactly. So, okay, here's how this goes. We have two metabolic systems. One that gets activated when we eat, and we already talked about this, is called glucose. I call it the sugar burner system. So basically your body goes, oh, there's an increase in food. We're going to use that for fuel right now. We also have a second metabolic system, and this is the biggest one. This is what I brought forward in Fast Like a Girl. I was like, we have this whole other metabolic system sitting here that if you don't use it, you're not training your body how to burn fat. And it is called the fat burning metabolic system. And you activate that system by going at least 12 hours without food. Your body needs to signal that glucose is going down, 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 down. And somewhere around 12 hours, boop, it will go right over into a fat burning mode because your body is so intelligent. What it will say is, we haven't had a lot of food coming in, but we stored some food. And we stored that food around the belly, the back of the arms, the face, the chest. I'm going to go get that glucose that I stored and I'm going to burn it right now because I don't see any glucose coming in. And when you burn that, you make something called a ketone, which is a whole nother fuel for the brain.
Sorry, this is going to sound ridiculous. I understand it's not healthy to make an entire box of mac and cheese at 10:30 at night.
Yeah, good choice.
It took me about 45 years to get there. But what I'm saying is I understand the notion of don't go to sleep on a full belly, right? Okay. Then I was able to push it. And also I have, fascinating eating, disordered eating challenges. So for me, I was like, what do you mean I can't eat at 10 p.m.? So then I moved it to 9 and then I moved it to 8. And now I get it. I can plan my life around an early dinner.
Excellent.
So that my body has some time to metabolize. You take a walk after dinner, all the things. So then I'm kind of fasting, right? From, let's say, I don't know, call it 8 p.m. just for good measure. So I go to sleep at 8 p.m. Hopefully I sleep. If I sleep 8 hours, right, I could keep sleeping because if I go to bed at 10, I get up at 6, right? So I want to keep not eating is the idea. So skip the most important meal of the day, which is what the 1980s taught me.
Or just delay it. Or delay it. Now, tell me how this is different than I'm telling my body it's starving and it now has to use other resources.
Okay. So first, you said something really powerful there, that the 1980s taught you breakfast was the most important meal of the day. Do you know where that came from?
Probably some food lobby that wanted me to drink milk.
Bingo. It came from Kellogg's. Kellogg's, when they put out corn flakes, this was actually in the 1970s, they needed a jingle. And so they said, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Yes. And it has stuck. We are all living by it. And it's not serving you. So let's repattern that. The first thing, I think that if you can, a really good rule is to always eat in the light. And I'm going to explain this in a moment. Right? Okay. Hang with me here.
Can I hold up a flashlight? 30?
Well, you can try that too. But when you are eating in the dark, your melatonin is being produced in the body.
How can I hide my shame if the lights are on, Mindy?
Well, you can keep your lights on, but that's a whole nother story. We can keep chatting about the blue light at night was a whole nother pattern. Put your blue blockers on.
So once it gets dark, this is the time that also evolutionarily I should not be thinking about eating.
Yeah, because when it gets dark, your body makes melatonin. Once you make melatonin, everything in your whole body starts to get into a more parasympathetic state because you're preparing for sleep. So this was actually a phrase that Sachin Panda, who's one of the top premier circadian rhythm experts in the world, said to me. He's like, think of it like this. When melatonin kicks in and you get sleepy, so does your pancreas. And your pancreas is not pumping out insulin at 9, 10 o'clock at night. If it's dark out, it's preparing for sleep. So the meal that you eat at 10 o'clock is going to be more detrimental and cause you to gain more weight than that same meal, if you eat it at 3 or 4 or even 5 in the light.
So this is also why, like in many European countries, they eat a heavier meal at lunch. Then they take a little snooze, a chillax. They go back to work for a few hours, and then they have sometimes a later meal, but it's not the same kind of heaviness. Jonathan, it's like when our kids are like, let's eat Thai food in the middle of the day. And we're like, nope, I will never wake up if I eat Thai food for lunch. I'll just sleep through the day. Interesting.
Yeah. So during the day, you don't have that melatonin issue. Plus, if you eat something, let's go back to what food is. If you are eating something, it's supposed to be fuel. So if you eat something, to your point that you said earlier, and then you fall asleep, like you're not using it. So the body's like, oh, I don't know what to do with this. I'll just go ahead and store it as fat. Whereas if you eat it and you go walk, then the body's like, oh, okay, let me use the glucose of the food you just gave me.
And that's how you train your metabolism, right?
That's right.
Another thing that we thought was only something that athletes get to know about.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And I mean, this has been the blessing of the menopausal conversation opening up, is that so many women are like, I don't know what I did, but I put on 30 pounds, 40 pounds. And so it's because the rules changed. The game changed. At 40, the metabolic game changed. And if you don't understand what your body needs now, then it's just going to keep storing all that extra as fat.
So talk to us about the fasting. Is 12 hours enough? Is it that the benefits kick in at 12 hours and you need to go further than that? What is the ideal for someone to start to see real change?
Yeah. So think of it like this. Every day you have a fasting window and then you have an eating window. And so the longer you stay, let's go here, the longer you stay in your fasting window, the more healing happens. And there are 6 different levels of healing that happen from starting at 12 hours, going all the way to 72 hours. So you decide how much healing do you want. So at 12, 13 hours, you've now metabolically switched over. Your body's burning fat. It's making ketones. If you hang out there 17 hours, now all of a sudden you're going to hit something called autophagy, where your body will start to detox itself. At 24 hours, you'll start to repair your intestinal stem cells, kick in, and you can actually do some serious gut repair. 36 hours is the key number, by the way, that the body starts to go after the belly fat.
Lady, I'm hungry. Lady, I'm hungry.
So your brain is hungry, though, and your body knows what to do. So your brain may be hungry, but your body's like, okay, your brain can be chattering at you and saying, I'm hungry, I'm hungry, I'm hungry. But your body in the meantime is going after that belly fat. It's going after the stored glucose.
I think the first question anyone hears when they hear about a 24-hour or 36-hour fast is, how do I do this safely and not give in to some of the feelings of dizziness, nausea, or your brain saying, hey, you're hungry? How do you separate that so that you can actually do it safely and achieve the end results?
So the first thing to know is this metabolic switch. When you switch over into fat burning, the first time you do it, if you haven't gone more than 8, 9, 10 hours, which most people haven't, without eating, then it's going to feel yucky. It's not going to feel good. It's like if you haven't run a marathon, you don't just put on a pair of tennis shoes and go run 20 miles. Like, you got to train for it. You have to slowly work into it. So with my patients, I used to say, we're just going to push breakfast back a half hour. And then I'd say, how did that feel? And if they're like, it was horrible, I say, just stay there and tell me when it's not horrible anymore. So maybe a couple days go by. They're like, okay, it's feeling better now. Okay, now I want to push it back an hour. Can you push it back an hour? Again, the body goes to a place where it's like, oh, it doesn't feel good. But if you hang there because your body knows what it's doing, you'll start to even out, just like your body knows what to do if you're going to train for a marathon. It knows what to do.
Can you drink water?
You can drink water.
Tea with caffeine?
You can drink coffee, but let's talk about the coffee, because you can't put coffee made in it and you can't put sugar in it. Black coffee. And some people do okay with cream. Like a good high quality cream, but yeah.
You start to push back your meals, and then you're starting to get maybe 12 hours. Maybe you start to experiment with 13, 14. What's the phase to start to get to that 24 or 36-hour mark? And how often does one go and do that to get the benefits without depleting muscle stores or doing damage to the body?
So let's start with this concept. What you're trying to recreate is what our primal ancestors did. So they didn't have predictability. Sometimes they would get a big kill and they'd eat a ton and then they would go a week without food. So this is why these 6 different length fasts became really powerful for my community, because you get to choose how long you're going to go. My experience has shown that once you can safely go and comfortably go 15 hours, it's not that hard to go 17.
That's not so bad. Because 15, if you stop eating, sorry, I'm going to do math again. If you stop eating, if you stop eating at 7, right? It's 5 hours till midnight. And then 10 a.m., that's 15.
There you go. Bingo. It's not that hard.
I mean, if I could stay in bed until then, that's even easier. But if I got to wake up at, 5:30 to get ready to take my kid to school, that's a long morning. But I could fill it up with so many healthy things.
So, right. So a lot of people use their coffee as a crutch, especially in the beginning. So you have your cup of coffee and you can put a little bit of raw cream. Raw cream would be best, or you put some cream in it. That's like heavy fat cream, because fat stops the movement of your blood sugar. So it makes it, and it satiates you. So it actually can help you not feel as hungry. There's a lot of people that put a little bit of MCT oil in their coffee. And MCT oil actually helps you go into this ketogenic state a little bit deeper. It helps you make ketones and helps you turn off the hunger hormone. So the coffee can become the crutch in the beginning.
What does MCT stand for?
Medium chain triglyceride oil. It's a piece of coconut oil. It's a small segment of coconut.